Job of the President of the United States to make sure that we as citizens are protected, our country, our borders are protected. But the question becomes, how do we choose to protect ourselves? Now, I mentioned poverty and militarism, two areas that my dad talked about. We truly will not become a totally strong nation as long as poverty rolls are growing, as long as homeless numbers are growing. And even with a very terrible economy, which we have, I still believe we can do something to address poverty in America. And as we do something to address poverty in America, I believe we can do other things to address poverty in the world. But there's something wrong with a nation, I believe, that has such an inordinate amount of wealth and resources, and yet still continues to have individuals and families that are living in poverty. So we've got to develop a plan, a blueprint, as to how we address this issue. And just as we have to one day learn to lay down our swords and shields and study war no more. Certainly my father was one of the greatest proponents of nonviolence. He and his team tried to teach us how to live together without destroying either person or property. But we have not learned that message yet. We still choose to believe we can outshoot someone, or we'll just, outbomb them, or we'll just annihilate them. And while that may be a temporary solution, that is not a permanent solution. Because somehow that hostility, that retaliation that we take could in fact come back and impact us in a very negative way. I mean, we really believed, wait a minute, I shouldn't say it that way. A lot of people believed that Osama bin Laden was the person that was causing all the terrorism. And it's interesting, we hadn't heard anything about it. I don't know where he went. I just wonder. I mean, and I'm not suggesting that there should not be an obligation to bring terrorists to bear, to the front. I'm not even saying that Osama bin Laden doesn't have hatred for America. That probably is true. But I don't know why we didn't catch him if we knew where he was. And it was kind of interesting. I mean, we never could find him. We were told by the media that he was in a cave somewhere. And he moved around on donkeys at night, low tech. Now mind you, we have satellites that take pictures of the Earth every millisecond. So you have a movie of the entire Earth through our intelligence. I mean, we can identify an automobile tag in the former Soviet Union, on the continent of Africa, on the Antarctic, wherever it may be. We can identify your license plate number wherever you are in the world, and yet we can't find a man that moves around on a donkey and because he has a dialysis machine, I guess, because he has diabetes. So I don't know. I don't understand that one. We just stopped looking for him. Maybe he'll surface and pop up again, because he does personify something that we need to find, because we need to find those who have hostility and animosity and anger against us and try to bring them to justice at the international court. But I would submit to you that we can't do it just by killing an Osama bin Laden or family members and all the other individuals who are defined as Al-Qaeda. It would seem more logical to figure out how do we sit down with the reasonable forces of Al-Qaeda and discuss responsible solutions of how we coexist together in the world. Because we can continue to just blow each other up, and that's all it is, a vicious cycle. My dad used to say, darkness cannot put out darkness, only light can put out darkness. And I say to you this evening that violence will not be able to put out violence. Only nonviolence will stamp out violence. So I do believe that one day we will embrace that concept. But we've not yet gotten there. And so a lot is occurring right now in this nation and throughout the world. But the question becomes, what are you as students who are preparing yourselves for your life's destiny? What are you going to do to ensure that our world, our nation, our state, our city, our community just here in Fayetteville is a better community for those who are coming behind us? Because that is part of our challenge, I believe, personally. That we must find a way to make the world in which we live just a little bit better than it was when we arrived. Ourselves. Yes, that's a noble mission. We must prepare ourselves to the nth degree. But it really is about what can we do for others. My father used to say, other preservation is more significant than self-preservation. Because in preserving and protecting others, you ultimately help yourself. Now, we in the South, we have a different orientation than others in our nation. We have Southern hospitality. We're very warm. In my city of Atlanta, our state of Georgia, we embrace you. We ask you to come and visit. We'll invite you in our home. We'll give you a meal, generally fried. That's probably not good, but that's all right. But we love what we love. That's our Southern culture and heritage. The entire nation has, in different pockets, culture and heritage. And our nation is an amalgamation of all of these things that make up what we call America, and that make us a great nation. I believe because there is a goodness in the human spirit of America. Even with all the issues that we do have, even with the separatism and segregational racism that still exists, and even with the poverty that still exists, we are still a pretty decent nation. But I submit that we must become even better. We must become better because America has had an interruption just over these last few years. Our generational value system has been interrupted, in fact. And so we do sometimes every and anything, maybe not here at the University of Arkansas, but in America. We do a lot of things that we probably shouldn't do. And some may say those are for experiences to learn. But I would submit that we've got to change our behavior. You know, I know that if my father were alive, I believe America would be an even better nation. Because those triple evils that I talked about, he and his team would have created the climate for us to almost resolve them. In a nation with $1 trillion economy, it doesn't make sense to even still have poverty. It really doesn't. I mean, what is $1 trillion? What is our government operating budget? Of course, we do they just make money when they need it. I mean, you know,